Progressives, this is your trigger warning. Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. Trump's sentencing delayed until after the election. The Democrats are painting themselves into a corner. Or they're on the edge of the cliff and they're going to fall over. They don't dare push it. They got what they needed out of the trial, this trial and other trials. The damaging of Donald Trump as a candidate. And they don't dare sentence him and put him in jail before the election. All hell will break loose. Like the last time, remember the mugshot? He went up 4 points in the polls. Judge Merchan, the viciously biased presiding judge in the bogus hush money case against Donald Trump, has just dealt a wholly unexpected yet staggering blow. I love this guy already. To the leftists who were positively salivating at the prospect of seeing Trump clap behind bars on September 18th. The destroyers of the Republic will now have to contend themselves with hollering convicted felon at every conceivable opportunity. For Merchan has now set the sentencing for November 26th, a full 3 weeks after what used to be Election Day is now the formal end of election season. Yeah, voting starts in like 10 days or something like that. That's insane. Absolutely insane. Merchan explained defensively that he postponed the sentencing in order to avoid any appearance, however unwarranted, that the proceeding has been affected by or seeks to affect the approaching presidential election in which the candidate is a candidate. He added, the court is a fair, impartial, and apolitical institution. Yeah. And insisted, again, that with an unusual degree of defensiveness, that the postponement should dispel any suggestion that the court will have issued any decision or imposed sentence either to give an advantage to or create a disadvantage for any political party or any candidate for any office. You got to be kidding me, right? It's insane. The Redder also writes, good move, Juan, but your explanation won't fly. You've made no effort to dispel the impression that you're a partisan hack. In fact, you only fueled it by baiting aside the Trump team's repeated request that you recuse yourself from the case, given all the clear evidence of your deep and abiding bias. Now, his daughter works for an ad agency, or she owns the ad agency, that sells ads on the internet for political campaigns, and has made several million, and it's legit. It's nothing wrong with it. Other companies do it for conservatives, but when your father is the judge of a Trump trial, it stinks. It stinks. Merchan also demonstrated his bias by entertaining the case in the first place, since it revolves around a transaction of the sort that big corporations make on a routine basis without ever running afoul of the long arm of the law. As former prosecutor Andrew McCarthy noted, Merchan denied Trump's defense the right to call former FEC commissioner, that's the Federal Elections Commission, which he's supposed to be in violation of, who would have explained that the claim that Trump had paid a porn star to keep silent about their assignation and based on Manhattan's DA Allen Bragg's fairy tale that Trump stole the 2016 election by skirting the FECA reporting requirements and was utter fiction in addition to him being legal nonsense. Yeah, the FEC commissioner says, listen, we looked into it. There's nothing there. The DOJ looked into it. Nothing there. But, of course, in New York City, you have Bragg, who wants to make a name for himself. And as we just saw with Steven Crowder at Undercover Video, where the public relations for the DOJ, I should say the Southern District of New York, said the whole thing was a witch hunt. There's absolutely nothing there. And if this was federal court, he'll get thrown out and laughed out. Unbelievable. However, Merchan dismissed that this as stale and unsubstantiated claims and stayed on the case. Imagine what would have been the reaction of a pro-Trump judge had done the same thing. Well, no, they have to understand. They can do anything they want to because it's a righteous cause. We're getting rid of the monster Donald Trump. And anything is fair game. It's like the old joke. I can't use his name because the algorithm will get screwed up, but you go back in time. into the 1930s in Germany and stopped the election of a certain person who ended up being chancellor that was directly started in World War II, would you do it? The answer is yes. You would do anything to stop him, have all those millions of people from dying. It doesn't matter if it's legal or not. If Trump is elected president November 5th and McChann still sentences Trump to prison November 26th, as he may very well do, a brand new controversy will arise about whether it will be legitimate for a prisoner to serve as president of the United States and even possible for him to do so. Well, Democrats will have a new talking point in their long list of reasons why Trump must not be allowed to take office. They want to screw around with the electors if Trump wins. It's amazing. The insurrectionist nonsense didn't fly, and efforts to revive the Russian collusion hoax hit a big iceberg the other day when Vladimir Putin endorsed Kamala Harris. But if Trump's address in Rikers Island on January 20th, 2025, it's a whole new ballgame. The Supreme Court will throw it all out. That's not the point. It's never been the point. They never thought that Donald Trump would survive all of this and win the Republican nomination. They never dreamed. They thought maybe Nikki Haley or Ron DeSantis, and that's the candidate they wanted to. Just like Watergate, if you was old enough to remember. Watergate was doing rat effing to Democrats. There were Republicans who worked for Nixon, and they did everything possible to disrupt the Democrat campaign that year for president because they wanted to pick and choose which Democrat they ran against. It was Muskie. I forget who else they wanted out, and they got him out. And they ended up with McGovern, and McGovern, of course, got slaughtered. Democrats are trying to do the same thing, but on 100 times the scale. Now they're using the courts instead of public opinion to get rid of their opponents. It didn't work. You know, it's like the dog chasing the car. He caught the car. What the hell do you do now? It's amazing. This still could happen. On the other hand, if McChann really has had an attack of conscience that led him to step back from the brink and avoid sentencing Trump in prison on January 18th, he might have yet another on November 26th. That could be what that future generations will be hailing Juan McChann as one of the heroes who saved the Republic in its darkest days. It could conceivably happen. The odds against it, however, are astronomical. Now, having said all of that, they don't know what to do. They just don't know what to do. They think they've been winning this whole time and keeping the polls close, even when Biden was the candidate. They alienated, well, they spent hundreds of millions of dollars of taxpayer money in ridiculous trials, civil and criminal. They thought he would never survive it. And they're like, what the hell do we have to do? I'm not saying Democrats are involved, but they laid fertile ground for people that were close to mental instability. One shot at former President Trump and hit him. Came within a quarter of a second away from killing him. Nobody can deny that. Well, there's some that say it was all a setup, but they're lunatics. And they're thinking, how lucky is this guy? Now, there's many on the Democrat side and the progressive side that would never say it in public, but they're mad as hell because he didn't get killed or incapacitated badly, and they had to put a new candidate, new nominee in. The Democrats went as far as alienating over 14 million of their own voters when they threw Joe Biden out in a coup de grace. It's amazing to me. My French isn't that good. And they didn't really care. Kamala Harris won for the most disliked vice president in the last 100 years plus to the most popular and just great candidate in less than 3 weeks. It's just amazing. With the help of their social media and cable news allies, looked like they were going to pull it off. They're thinking, oh boy, here we go. Just before the election. And all this time went by, and just before the election, we were going to sentence Trump to prison so they can say not only convicted felon, but sentenced felon. And maybe the Supreme Court would step in, he put up bond and not go to jail. But the damage was already done. It's death by 1,000 cuts, and that's what they're doing at him. And he's holding up remarkably well. The guy is really stress-proof. He really is. I don't know how he does it. He should write a book on that. Because you see him, presidents always look a lot older, even after only 4 years in office. He looks the same or just normal aging. It's incredible. They can't figure out how to get this guy. And they're panicking. So they postpone the sentencing until after the election. And then they could fall back and say, oh, well, we did it because we're non-biased. We're above that kind of thing here. Our justice system is 100% non-biased. What a crock of crap. It's just unbelievable to me. It really is. So there they go. They let themselves off the hook. They saw that every time they go after Trump, his poll numbers go up. And it looks like right now, I think the betting odds on websites in Las Vegas have, I think it's 62 or 61-39 Donald Trump favored to win. They've changed dramatically once the American people get to know Kamala Harris a little bit more and not having a press conference or an interview. And I don't count the one on CNN from Dana Bash Trump. I don't count that at all with her dad sitting there, Walz, her vice presidential choice. He's like the dad there when they're getting interviewed by the police just to make sure you don't say anything stupid. It's incredible to me and how patronizing, mansplaining in a lot of ways. So here we are. It's going to come to a head and fairly quickly. Oh boy, we live in interesting times. Until the next time, God bless, goodbye, and good luck.